Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to 1996. Well, you might not have even been born by then, but we're going there anyway. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel and my second video of my lockdown episodes. Today I'm going to be shooting a roll of Ilford Delta 100 from 1996, which is kindly sent to me by Jean Prefontane. He's an Instagrammer and also a subscriber, very nice chap. So Jean, thanks for sending me this film. I've already used a couple of bits of it. If most of you are used to my channel by now, if you go back for some of my videos, you often see me cutting bits of film, putting them in the camera and developing them in small tanks inside the film canisters actually. But anyway, so I've already used some of it, but I've got quite a bit left. So today I thought I'd have a little shoot with this Ilford Delta indoors with some home objects, try and get a little bit of creativity and some lighting going, and hopefully get a nice print at the end of it. So just to give you an idea of how long ago 1996 was, Ask Jeeves was launched. I wrote some things down. Ask Jeeves was launched, if you remember that. Ask Jeeves is still out today. eBay was born and DVDs were launched in Japan. Buzz Lightyear doll, that was launched in 1996. The Nintendo 64 was introduced, and also those little tiny Tamagotchi egg things. Do you remember where you try and hatch the egg and then keep it alive, but it just died anyway and ended up in the kitchen drawer somewhere? Pop music. Everyone was trying to dance to the Macarena. Bones, Thugs and Harmony, well, they wanted to meet everyone at the crossroads. Spice Girls were wannabes. Loonies had 5 on it, and Oasis didn't look back in anger. And if we look at the sports, we all thought football was coming home when Paul Gascoigne scored that goal against Scotland, where he flipped it over Hendry's head and then volleyed it into the back of the net. And if you ever remember that classic moment, I remember sitting there in the pub watching that. I fell off my chair if I remember. And Michael Johnson broke the 200 metre and the 400 metres in the Olympic Games in Atlanta that year. And there's me in 1996 as well. That's even got the back of it, Roger. Look, Yeah, I don't know where that was taken, but I haven't changed much. I don't change a lot, really, to be honest with you. Anyway, I'll show you some of the gear that I'm going to be shooting and we'll do some metering. Well, first of all, I've got to load the film into the camera, but let's show you what I'm up to. So this is my little setup in my front room. I've got my coffee table there. There's a little flower. I've got a Buddha. I've got some sticks as well. That's my video light, my light meter. That's the can for the film. I've got a shutter release cable in case I start dropping the exposures. And this is just 2 pieces, the backs, cardboard backing of frames, photo frames. And I've covered them with this. This stuff here is what you put in your garden to stop weeds coming through. But it's also see-through, so I don't know if you can see, I've got this mottled effect from the background, from the brown, this stuff here. And I'm going to be shooting with the Olympus OM20, and it's just on a tripod. So yeah, very simple setup. I should get some nice photographs from it. So I've done some metering using the Seconic light meter on the grey card next to the subject. So hopefully everything else, all the other tones will work around that. There's not really many tones. I've got the highlight on the flower and the background as well, which is quite dark. But I'm going to use that LED light on another shot just to light that background up, just to see what we get. It's only a video light, so you know, cheap and cheerful stuff going on here. So the rule of thumb with expired film is overexpose 1 stop for every 10 years old it is. So this is what, 25 years old. So if I was metered at 125th of a second, I'll have to shoot it at 30th of a second. That's 2 stops overexposed to try and get the best out of this film. But I'm not sure how true that is. Films, depends how the film's been stored, etc, etc. So I'm going to take my photographs 1 metered exposure and then 2 stops and then 2 stops over just to see, you know, have a look at the negatives when I develop them and see if there is any difference. So anyway, let's take some photographs and see how we get on. So I just metered using the grey card and it gave me f4 at 60th of a second. So that was my first shot. My second shot I did 2 stops over, so I come down to 15th of a second, if that rule of thumb works for this particular film. So that's 2 shots done. This time I'm going to light the background using a video light, and I'm not going to do any more metering, just going to do this visually. just slide the video light under, like so. And I'll take 2 more shots, one at 60th of a second like we was metered before. And 2 stops over, back to 15th of a second. Done. So I developed the negatives in XTOL at 1 part to 1 part, and these are the 4 photographs that I took. This is the first one, which, looking at the negative, being a black background, it's pretty much how I want it. That was the metered shot. Then I've got the next one where I overexposed by 2 stops to compensate for the age of the film. That one seems to be lighter than I anticipated. And then the other 2 shots, exactly the same metering, that one, and that one was 2 stops over, but this time I put the light on in the background. The light hasn't actually made much effect, but the only way I'll know is when I do a contact print and have a look at the negatives on paper. So let's do that now, make a contact print for these and we'll have a look. Now before I do anything, this is my developer. This is Ilford's multigrade developer, and I've been caning this developer this week, and when I mixed it fresh I made myself a quick test reference. It's just a piece of photographic paper, the same paper as I'm going to be using in this session. I exposed it to light up here and then dunked it in the developer, stock and fixed, and that gives me a reference. So what I need to do is make sure that this developer is still going to work for me just for this printing session. So I'm just going to do another test strip exactly the same as this, and hopefully if it comes out as black as this, then that developer's not exhausted, I can carry on using it. So I've just got my piece of photographic paper outside the bag. I'm just going to turn the light on and let that expose to light. That should be enough. And now just dunk it into the developer like so, and I'm hoping that that goes the same black as that other piece of paper. If it does, like I said, I'm good to continue with this developer, and it means it's still working and nice and strong. So there's my test there, and it looks all right. It's black as that, so I'm good to go with this developer. So here's my contact print. You can see that's the leader there. So the first shot, which was metered, is way underexposed, so I'm glad that I gave it that 2 extra stops compensation of overexposure there, as the rule of thumb suggests. And again, the second one with the light in the background against the overexposed with the light in the background. So that's interesting. Right, so I've got 2 prints to work on, that one and that one. So what I've got here is a square template. This is what I'm going to be using today. I want to make this image square. I don't want the 35mm frame on it. It's up to me where I want to position it. Can I go dead centre or bring it over slightly? I think because I had the light kind of dead centre, I'm going to go dead centre on it. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. And just like normal, use my grain finder. Give it some of that. Okay, let's do a test strip. 1, 2. Okay, I've done a couple of test strips. I'm happy with this one so far. My test strip came out 3 seconds, 6. This is with a 2.5 grade filter. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 12 was a bit too mushy, I could see that. So I just went for straight 15, which is here. I'll just write that down so I know what it was. 2.5 grade filter. Contrast 2.5. And I'm quite happy, really happy with this result. I could be a little bit sharper, so I'll have to just check the enlarger to make sure that hasn't slipped. I'm sure I've got that nailed in the camera, but let's stick a piece of paper in and we'll see how we get on with this one. Let's go 15 seconds on the enlarger. If you see me wafting, I'm just doing that in case any of my dandruff fell on the paper. That'll just give me all sorts of problems. Okay. Let's have a look, see how that looks. There it goes. Quite a large piece of paper actually for the size of the image, but that doesn't bother me. I could have cut the excess off for test strips, but I could frame it with a large border if I want to. Gives you the option. It's looking nice. So I'll let that run for a couple of minutes, stop and fix, and I'll show you the result after. So that hasn't worked out too bad. It's not as sharp as I wanted it to be. Maybe I was slightly out of focus in the camera, but other than that, there's no playing around that I need to do with this at all. 2.5 grade straight, 15 seconds, job done. Just a little tiny spot mark there, and one there and there. So I've got 3 little tiny spot marks that I'm just going to clean the negative and see if I can get away with that. So then I'll do a reprint of this, and then I'll print the other one without the light on the background. So over there I've got 3 prints drying. One was without the background light, and the other 2 was with the background light. One of them had a little tiny spot, which I did a reprint. This time I've put the negative back in with the background light, and I've taken out my red bulb. You can see behind me my beehive red light there. I've taken this out. I've put a small 15-watt oven bulb in there, very dim. And I'm going to make another print. This time I'm going to solarize it just to see how it looks. Really, just be interested to see how it looks. I'll show you how I solarize a print. It's quite good fun. If any of you guys have got a darkroom and try solarization, I've got a video on this somewhere way down in my video list. But I'll show you now quickly how I do a solarized print. It might work, it might not. I don't know. Let's give it a go. So it might be quite hard for you guys to see what I'm doing, but I've taken the red light away from the beehive light, which usually lights this area up in the darkroom. But anyway, this is the developer. I've added 1 extra tray, and it's just fresh water. So what I'm going to do is under the enlarger make another print, and then I'm going to bring it into the development. And just as I start seeing the print or the image coming through, I'm going to whip it out the developer and put it into the cold water. Or tepid water, and that should stop the development process very slightly. And then what I'm going to do is just flash it with the beehive light with that 15-watt bulb. I'll just show you that now. I'm going to flash it like so, off, and then put it back in the development, and that should give some sort of solarization effect. Let's have a go. So the print's done. Let's put it into the developer, and it's just as I start to see it come through, I'll quickly whip it into the water to stop. I'll get my hands in there. It's just coming through now. Take it out, put it in the water. That should cease the development slightly. Might have gone too far. Turn the light on. That's all I need. Put it back into the developer. It should solarize the print. Now this, you have to experiment with this yourself and see. I haven't done this for ages, so let's see how that looks. So the last thing I want to do is the print that was dodgy, the one with the little tiny spot on it. I'm going to try bleaching it and put it in into Photospeed's sepia chemistry. So this is the bleach, this is the sepia tone. Stinks of eggs, smells of farts, this one. Really stinks, but I'm just going to give this a quick wipe over wash first. Now, I don't want to go too crazy with the sepia, just a hint, so just throw it into the bleach first. 3. Just start seeing some lightness going on. That's starting to attack the whites now. Pull that out. Yeah, pull it out. Wash that shit off. And now into the sepia toner. I should really have gloves on with this, guys. This is silly, but that's about enough. Just a little hint. Get that washed now. So I'm all cleaned up and I'm out the darkroom, and this was my favourite print. This was the second one that I did with the video light in the background, and hopefully you can see, yep. Without the dot, I got the little tiny speck off. I cleaned the negative and it got that off. So I was quite happy with that. That was a nice print. And then what I did with that one, with the dot on it, I dumped it in that sepia toner. I'll just show you the difference between the two actually. If you can see, this one is the sepia tone print. and this one isn't. So just very slightly toned it. It looks quite nice on the whites and the blacks. So yeah, I was quite happy with them. That was the one I shot without the background light on, and I must admit I didn't think I would, but I preferred the one with the background light on. It just pulled that background out a little tiny bit, which to me makes the picture look nicer than that one there, which is pretty much a flat black looking background. Try and say that, a flat black looking background. There you go. So yeah, I quite like that one. And the solarized print, I dumped it in. It wasn't great, but I'm not going to waste any paper trying to make it look right. I just thought a bit of fun to show you guys. If any of you lot want to play around with solarization, that's what I do, but it just takes a little bit of time to get it right how you want it to look. But and obviously different negatives and different images and lighting conditions as well give you different effects. So yeah, that was a solarized one. And like I said in the darkroom when I was printing this, I said about having a large piece of paper. This is a 16x12 Kentmere VC Select paper. It's a Lustre paper, so it's not glossy, which is quite nice. It's my preferred paper, but you can see it's only an 8 inch by 8 inch image inside there, but it gives you lots of options if you want a frame. If you want to have a heavy border, you can have one, or you can close the border down with a matte board in the frame. It's up to you, but I like printing that way, and sometimes I can cut off the bottom excess for test prints and stuff, but I didn't bother in this one. I did some light trails the other night. I went out in the garden and did some light trails as well. You know, we're all locked down. We can't really go out other than a bit of exercise. So I went outside and did some light trails. I've never done these before. This is glossy paper, Ilford's glossy. That's Venus. That's the planet Venus there, the big one. And that was a 3-hour exposure. And then I played around with some different attempts in the darkroom. You can see me mucking about there, but that was the one I liked. And yeah, Venus coming across over a 3-hour exposure. Quite enjoyed playing around with light trails, star trails if you like. And I'm pleased that I didn't go off and shoot the rest of this roll on the Buddha and stuff that I didn't really want to shoot. You know, I wanted the flower, so that's what I did. Took 4 frames, so I've got quite a bit of this expired film left for me to dabble with at another time. And I try and keep things minimal for you guys, you know, when I'm doing my videos, because I know that not everyone's got strobes and lighting stuff and LED panels and whatnot. So I try and keep stuff minimal that everybody can do. And this was the LED panel that I used just for the background. If you haven't got one of these, you know, you can improvise with a small torch or something like that. But it was just to show, you know, putting a little tiny bit of light into a background as best as I could. So that's just an LED video light that sits on top of a video camera, but torch will do if you want to light your own backgrounds up. And I'll just show you the background that I used. I just basically used this fabric that's used in the garden to stop weeds coming up through your stones and whatever. If I take that off, so I had 2 boards from the back of photo frames that I used, and it's got this kind of mottled look on it. I don't know what you call it, but anyway, I basically put 2 together with a bit of electrical tape and made me background. That stuff, I got this in a roll at the DIY store a long time ago, and I've still got some left. You can see it's see-through. So you know, it's just stuff I found around the house to try and make me photographs with. And this morning I wanted to take a picture of that flower, and I thought, well, what can I use as a background, etc, etc. And I was going to use this. Whoop. I was going to put the flower into a corner to kind of have this on the coffee table, so I've got 2 corners if you like, give it a bit more depth, but it wasn't quite working out. But you know, hey ho, it's just another idea that you can play around with. Anyway guys, so I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. And you know, if you're stuck indoors for your photography, there's always something around. If you open your mind and have a little look around your home, I'm sure there's something around that you can take photographs of and make the best of your time at home. So anyway, hope you liked the video. Please subscribe, like and all that stuff. Stay safe, and I'll catch you next time. Bloody tripod.